Okay. There's two properties that are very similar to each other and sometimes get confused, and they're the substitution property and the transitive property. Okay. Now the substitution property and transitive property are very similar in that they're both about taking something out and putting something else in, right? Which is kind of our substitution in general, okay? But as we get more specific to the different times that we use each of these, we start to see the line that defines them, okay? So if I have A equals B, okay, and B plus C equals D, then I can trade out 4B and put in A. Okay? So again, A, B, C, and D are all expressions, so it may not just be a single number, but it might be a more complex aspect to it. So in here, a substitution is we've got other stuff in play on this side of the equation that stays. That plus C, whatever that plus C is, it's going to stay right there. It's going to not change at all, and my end result doesn't change either, D, okay? A and B are a part of the side that get traded out, okay? Right, okay, yes, that all makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about the transitive. A equals B, B equals C, and A equals C, okay? We're taking out the middleman. So these equal each other, these equal each other. Well, B, of course, is equal to itself. That's the reflection property, which we won't really need to talk about. Okay? I can then take out the middleman and just make A directly equal to C. Okay? What's the difference between these two? Okay? In some places that you'll see the substitution property, it will be explained something like this, like the transitive property, and that's where we get some confusion between the two. Okay? And this might be a place that, especially where you're teaching, that line isn't important yet. Okay? And so that I wouldn't take a lot of time in second grade and really define that line between the two. But if I got into 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, middle school grades, this line does become kind of important for them, okay? So understanding when we're going to help students better understand is important for them, okay? You should definitely understand as a teacher, just so you know. So these differences, right? Transitive, when there's a transition, okay? Transition means that we're changing the setup and what's happening. I think about football to help me understand these two, okay? When there is a transition in the game, my offense comes out and my defense goes in, right? The game's still going on, but I'm actually changing out the whole side. My whole offense comes out, my whole defense goes in, okay? A substitution is when I pull out, okay, I've got wide receivers, I got a group of wide receivers here, and I can pull out any one of them, and it's not going to change the overall result of what I've got. Okay, and you can get into more detail and argue with me a little bit about that. But the general principle of it, okay, I can trade out alignment for alignment. I'm doing that, and I'm not transitioning the game. I'm just doing a substitution, okay? And you may have different purposes in your substitution, so we don't want to get too into that. But that's an important thing that helps me to understand where this line is. I'm not trading out the whole team, I'm trading out one person, okay? And trading out that one person makes the difference for being able to do this. Again, why would I trade out B and put in A, or A and put in B? Well, looking at this setup, one of them is more user-friendly for this problem, okay? Maybe this one has like terms that will match up with C, so I can see that. Or A has the correct simplified setup for me. So I do this work on the side, find out these two are equal, and then I can start to simplify my bigger equation within there, okay? Over here, I'm seeing that these two things are connected, which is probably some of the work that I did in the simplifying over there, right? In the end, I started with this, and I start with that, and now B is showing that they are connected to each other. I can now pull out their middleman connection and relate them directly to each other, okay? So this is a really helpful thing for us when we're switching out that whole thing. If anything's left behind on that side of the equal sign, on either side of the equal sign as we trade these out, then it's substitution. If the whole side is traded out, then it's the transitive property, okay? So make sure that you know the difference between the two. Early grades and early discussion, probably not gonna be super important for it, but it is an important one to know as you start to work and understand when you're dealing with bigger and more complex equations and those parts.